Edifice was established in 1987. We are headquartered in Mumbai, and then we established branches in Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Calcutta, Pune and New Delhi. We've grown into becoming one of India's largest firms. The number of resources working in Edifice number 280. We have the lowest attrition rates in the country. It's as low as 1.94% because we share our wealth with our team. We've got close to 18 directors and 40 associates with whom we share our profits. Edifice was one of the first firms to recognize that design is incomplete without a system to deliver the same. So we went in for an ISO 9001:2000 certification about 5 years back. We've been certified by BBQI over the last 4 years. We've been successful, and this has helped us not to repeat errors in future projects. We've evolved these process and systems on our own and trying to get this delivery process accurate so that the design which we had perceived or conceived is built accurately at site. We've got 4 core values at the center of our work ethic: innovation and design. No two projects of ours have a similar look and feel. Teamwork and transparency. This is our strength. Over the last 20 years of our practice, we built a very strong, robust team, and we believe in a very transparent way of working. We involve the clients, the vendors, the project managers along with our team to work together in harmony and in a transparent manner, and which results in an excellent delivered product. Third important core value is our ISO 9001:2000 system. We have evolved a process flow which helps us document every stage of the project, thereby instilling discipline. It's a very disorganized industry. Earlier, the way we used to design and handle projects was complete in Harry Potter style. The design documentation happened while the site was in progress, and finally, through sheer magic, the sites used to come up. The scale is different now. We are handling larger projects. The ISO 9001:2000 certification, along with the process and systems, has helped us get in this discipline and handle these large critical projects. Fourth important attribute is 70% of our income comes from existing customers. This shows the amount of faith that clients have reposed in Edifice. In a service industry such as ours, client retention is paramount. It shows that you are growing. Today, we are rendering consultancy across 95 projects in the country, which is close to around, if you were to take it in a square footage, it would be close to around 50 million square feet, which is going to be affecting about 400,000 people. Towards this, when everyone is talking about sustainability and green architecture, on our own about 3 years back, we started an initiative within Edifice called Chlorophyll. It's a voluntary initiative wherein several like-minded architects and professionals have come together and have started auditing each and every single project of ours, whether it's going for a LEED certification or a Griha certification. Chlorophyll has ensured that every single project of ours is sustainable, is green in its own way, and thereby ensuring that we preserve nature and while delivering architectural solutions. Edifice is currently involved in the design across 4 verticals. We're doing master planning, urban design. We're doing corporate campuses. We're also rendering services in the hospitality space, health, as well as mixed-use residential. Today I'm going to cover a presentation that we have rendered for Tata Consultancy Services, a very unique project. This project is a training center for fresh graduates, not necessarily engineers. And basically this presentation is in 3 parts. One is the design brief from the customer, what was our design process, and what was the realized product at the end of the day. So the vision of the customer was to create a learning center, a training center for not necessarily engineering graduates, but they could be science and commerce graduates. TCS intended to train them in the information technology space and and this was a first one of its kind. Ideally, in a software development center, you would take engineers, you would take IT graduates, but in this case they were planning to recruit science and commerce graduates and even arts graduates, train them for a limited period, maybe a year and a half, and make them as software development engineers. And towards this they wanted a kind of a campus, an educational campus, across an already built form, which is a very large flow plate. And the program included among others focused and direct training. It also included informal training. They wanted to have subconscious learning, which would be very interactive in process. They wanted some indirect training as well. And finally they wanted each and every student to develop the reading habit. How does one develop the reading habit? By introducing a very large library. This space was called Pygmalion, and it had to directly and indirectly cater to meeting the requirements as mentioned above. So this place was in Chennai, and this was part of an already built space. So we had a very large flow plate which was close to about 1.5 lakh square feet. Now each of these aspects, which was focused in direct training, we were providing through introducing training halls, lecture halls. The informal training was by providing open learning stations, or workstations. The interactive and the conscious learning was given by providing breakout areas. You had these learning spaces merging into breakout areas, and therefore a very informal space evolved. The indirect training came through developing interesting offbeat activity spaces, and developing the reading habit, as mentioned earlier, was providing an enclosed library which formed the heart of the entire space that we had designed. A design solution is rendered by principally combination of two criteria. One is the geometry of the space, and the second is the design brief. Already mentioned the design brief. Now I'm going to cover the site geometry. So the design area was approximately 40,000 square feet, which was a central portion on that 1.5 lakh square feet floor plate. This was on the 3rd floor of the building. Existing service cores and centrally located lobbies are indicated. The light penetrations on every floor comes from only one side of the floor plate. So we luckily had when you talk about training spaces, typically done in artificial lighting, because these are 8-hour, 9-hour sessions. Typically projectors are used, and hence you want an environment which is dark. And luckily for us, the light penetration on this floor plate was only from one side. The floor plate was broadly divided into 3 zones, basically strips, with the corridors on either sides. As mentioned earlier, the space had to incorporate a lot of large opaque masses. These were the training rooms and lecture halls. So what we intend to do, if you were to check out a typical classroom or a training space, it's trapezoidal in shape. So we had to place all these trapezoids on the floor plate, and what we saw was these trapezoids formed some sort of sponge. The intent was to create a sponge which will absorb and still hold all its contents. The interiors had to be very organic and fluid, as in a sponge. The support functions would have also got to be fitted in this place, which would mean in this slide you will see that the yellow mass is the focal point where